Welcome, everybody. Justin Burgess here, host of the Justin Burgess podcast. So, I've obviously done a bunch of stories about myself, but I wanted to re-up for everybody and kind of making this 25.1 episode. I wanted to start off at 1, but I did a couple podcasts previously. I'm kind of counting this one as my first one. That's why I've called it 25.1. So, I'm going to go over the who, what, and the why of myself. So, before I kind of start, I'm actually recording this on January 9th, 2025. I'm posting this on January 10th, 2025, and then it's my 34th birthday. And my wife keeps asking me what I want to do, and I've kind of just been in this zone lately of business, health, fitness, and I'm just kind of, it's just another day for me. Like, I love working out. I love eating my chicken and rice and mixing a couple sweets for my kids when they don't eat their Oreo cookie fully. My son, just for some reason, only eats the ice in it. I can't leave the cookie there. It's just, I was always a fat person, always will be a fat person to myself. I still do the shirt thing. It's just a weird thing. Um, but, I'm just excited for this next year, and I'm grateful of the opportunities that I've had throughout the last year and the clients that I've got and the friends that I've made. But I'm really excited for 2025. So let's get into it. So I want to go back to my early years of myself. So early Justin. So I was born and raised in a family business, Sid-Mar's restaurant. We were around for close to 30 years. The name actually came from my grandfather Sidney and my grandmother Marion. So Sid-Mar. Put it together, Sid-Mar's. My grandfather unfortunately passed away while I was really young. I only have pictures of him. Vaguely remember interaction with him. My grandmother, she lived a very long life. She passed away probably 5 or 7 years ago. I can't remember exactly. But we had one of the most popular seafood restaurants in the city in the 90s and 2000s. And I got to witness my father be at the top and also fall at the bottom. And I'll kind of get into that story a little bit throughout this podcast. So Hurricane Katrina wiped us down to the pylons. So I have a picture of my father, and it's on his Facebook, of him sitting on the front porch with nothing behind him. And when we evacuated, we ironically went to Disney World because my father was just like, we went to Florida, Destin, and we just kept going. Like, we all need time to just decompress. Let's just keep going. We know where we're going back to, because we obviously got pictures and people told us the news. Like, if anybody remembers Sid-Mar's, we had pictures throughout the wall, and I remember my father telling me, like, we found family pictures miles from the restaurants that we've heard from other people, and it just tells you the destruction of Hurricane Katrina. So, that restaurant it meant the world to me. And it's ironic that I live in Gentilly area by City Park, so not that far away. And my kids actually go to the same school that I went to, St. Louis King of France. And I drive by Bucktown every single day to drop my kids off at school. And my kids are not old enough to understand that part of our life. And I can't wait to share that with them, because that's what made me the person who I am now. And, my father, I love telling the story. It's the picking up the trash mentality. And, as business owners, yes, you're ultimately the one that's making the most money, calling all the shots, but you did the stuff that you're asking other people to do. And my father was always the type that he just kept doing that. And I called it the, picking up the trash mentality. Is like, so seafood gumbo was our most popular item on the menu. And you obviously eat crackers with gumbo. And we always had them on the table as well. I used to eat crackers and butter for dinner consistently. But the trash wrappers would fly all over the restaurant, because in Louisiana, New Orleans, it's 100 degrees outside. So we had fans going everywhere. And my father would always go around sweeping the restaurant and picking up those cracker wrappers. And for me as an employee benefits consultant, like, I have a team behind me that helps me out with a lot of stuff, but I still like doing stuff, and I kind of equate that part of my life to this now new part of my life. So, Sid-Mar's had a little bit of a, back in 2010, 2012, my father actually decided to go reopen the restaurant in Metairie off of Veterans in an already failed restaurant, and it did very well for the first 6 to 12 months. Then the BP oil spill hit, and as everybody remembers, that was a rough time for seafood restaurants. Oysters went from I think like $30 a gallon to $60, $90 a gallon, and everybody knows it's running a business, like especially restaurants. It's the toughest business to be in. Your profit margins are slim, so when your costs suddenly go up, and we kind of got the hype that people all missed us and the food was the same. Then it just, the hype died, and parents also went through a divorce during that time, so I don't look at it as a failure. I know in the first part I said I saw my father rise to the top and rise to the bottom. I don't see it as a failure. I just see it as wasn't the right time for that opportunity. And, I was in college at the time, so I was actually at LSU for a couple of years, driving back on the weekends to help out the family, and ultimately made the decision to move back home and finish my degree at UNO. And I got to learn a lot throughout that whole process. So the early years of Sid-Mar's was very much, we had a lot of fun. Everybody knew our name, and they still know it. And when I was cold calling for the first 2 years of me being a producer, I was like, hey, I'm local, born and raised here. You might know my father. You probably know Sid-Mar's. I'm a real person. Please talk to me. That was my kind of pitch, a little bit cleaner. But like everybody knew Sid-Mar's, and it tells the character of a person as well. So that's kind of the Sid-Mar's part of my life. I want to go into the college. So college, I knew I wanted to do something business wise. I just had that like semi-entrepreneurial spirit. I got to see my father succeed and do very well financially, and I just knew I was like, I want to go into business. I don't know what I want to go into, and I was just like, let me get a business. Then I kind of got the itch for human resources, so finished my degree at UNO, got into banking a little bit, and that was because the bank was on the campus of UNO, and it was easy. Got free parking, paid for a little bit of my schooling, so it was the right opportunity at the time. And like every young college person, you don't know what you want to do in your life. And I look back at that time and how I got where I'm at in this industry. I was just looking for jobs on Worknola and saw an ad. I can't remember what it had in the title, account associate insurance. And I had a lot of friends get into insurance, but it was all the insurance that a lot of people are like not really warm and fuzzy with. I don't want to call out names, but selling life insurance, and it's just not, that wasn't my style. And I remember just applying to a bunch of jobs back in the day and never got a call back. And I remember I was driving. I played hockey at the time in Baton Rouge with a bunch of friends. We would always drive, carpool together. And I remember getting a call, and this was like maybe at 5:30, a little bit later in the afternoon. I just wasn't prepared for a call. Bombed it, did not go well. And I don't think it went anywhere. Then I heard later that my old boss at the time, Tom Daly, hey Tom, love you still, kind of found my resume on a desk, and we both went to Jesuit High School, so that was kind of like everybody that goes to Jesuit, you kind of have a little bit of bond for each other that you're good people. And called me in for an interview. Remember the interview, I didn't do much talking. He was a big talker, and he's like, I don't know what you're going to do here, but we're going to figure it out, and we'll sit you here. And I remember moving like 3 or 4 times throughout my first 6 months because people left. And I look back on that day as like I got a shot into the business, and this business is tough, and I didn't know what I was getting into when I first started in the employee benefits industry. When I first started, we were taking paper applications and typing it into Excel and getting it to the carriers. And I spent but close to 8 years with Tom, and first of it, the first 5 years was Benefit Administration Group, BAG. He later sold to NFP, so I got to see both sides of the equation of working for a local agency and seeing the vibe and seeing how things are done. We grew very quickly. It was very fun. I loved every minute of it. I was getting burnt out towards the end, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we all get kind of stuck, and I take that upon of just I gained a lot of weight throughout that process. I love the insurance business, but unfortunately, you go out to lunch a lot, and you're meeting with carriers and clients, and I just didn't make good decisions. And I think that had a lot to do with just my overall mood. I just wasn't happy in my body, myself, my mind. And unfortunately, we had to part ways. And I think that was unfortunately the best thing that ever happened to me. And, I love my previous colleagues. I still talk to a lot of them daily. And I miss the interactions that we had, because at the end of the day, when you're working for someone for so long, and even if you're working with any company, you're building friendships and relationships with those clients, your coworkers, your leadership. And all of a sudden, when you don't talk to someone for a while, you just kind of feel like, man, just haven't talked to Tom, haven't talked to Jason in a while. Like, it's, it sucks, but unfortunately it's just business. And we did have to part ways. And when I was looking to kind of go out into the world of like, hey, I think I can be a producer, I think I can do this, the options out there, it's a very competitive industry. And I'm glad I ended up where I ended up at. But being a producer is very, very hard. A lot of people, this industry has a high failure rate. So, in the first 2 years of me being a full-time producer, I've generated, pretty good revenue, pretty good book size. My clients, I love my clients. I'm blessed that they gave me a shot and opportunity when they did. But at the end of the day, I want to be known for transparency and advocacy. Those are the two things that I want to be known for. And this business, it's very similar to accountants. Like, yes, every accountant can file your taxes, 110%. Do certain accountants have different strategies that other accountants know about, but they're not really comfortable with, or they're just not versed on it? Yes, that happens. So in the employee benefit space, every broker, you need your life and health license. You can work with all the major insurance carriers, but there's certain strategies that you don't know, or but you don't really like talking about them because you're not as comfortable with it. And I'm on the fence of like, my clients hire me and us to present them options. And we don't have to believe in all those options. We just have to be the one to educate them on those options. And that's the purpose of me doing this podcast and me doing YouTube and LinkedIn. Is I'm not trying to get famous. I'm not trying to be a social media influencer or a content creator. I want to educate people, and we educate people through video, through audio, through visuals. And that's the most important thing to me. My wife always makes fun of me. I see her watching I post a TikTok, believe it or not. My wife always looks at my TikTok videos while we're in bed with our kids, and I get embarrassed because I'm like, I don't like hearing myself talk. And I was actually doing an open enrollment meeting for one of my clients and driving throughout the whole South, and one of their HR associates made the comments like, oh, you're getting really good at this, or like, you've been doing this for a while. And I remember my first open enrollment meeting, I was so uncomfortable to get on stage, and I still do kind of have that little butterfly going on that I'm just like, this is not what I like doing. But when you're forced to get up there and do it, and now me being the full-time producer, that's my job, is to educate. And unfortunately, we're educating on things that people don't like talking about. Deductibles going up, your premiums going up, your drugs not covered, or like, so we're just trying to, and our government's basically put PBMs and all this stuff on TV, and Mark Cuban's doing his thing. So like, people are just like so in tune with health insurance right now and health care. That's the biggest thing. I think for me, health insurance and healthcare are two different things. I'm trying to teach people of how to use the healthcare system effectively. Health insurance is just the back end system that helps you pay for all this stuff. But you as a consumer need to understand how to work the healthcare system. And the thought process of like, why can one place charge $600 for an MRI where one place charges $3,000 for an MRI? And what's that impact to you for someone on a high deductible plan that's got a $6,000 deductible? So it's all about education. And that's what I've enjoyed throughout the last 2 years is, I've gotten 2 compliments recently for me doing these videos, and I won't name the people, but one of the names that came up to me recently, I was kind of floored and like super, like just made me feel really good. It's another industry professional and very big name, and they're seeing my stuff, and that's cool. And because it takes guts to do this, like, you know, it's not fun, it's uncomfortable. You're having to record yourself multiple times, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it and I'm putting myself out there. The old way of producers selling into employers was go join a country club, go hang out where business owners hang out. That's not the new way of doing things. My tagline is designing the new generation of employee benefits. This is the new generation of how to connect with people. And look, I'm not saying that my DMs are flooded with people asking me to do their insurance. But I can tell you one thing is that if I do meet someone and you Google me, I want to be out there. And these are the type of content that I'm putting out. And I'm excited for the podcast, for my other guests. I have some really cool guests lined up in the next couple months. And I'm excited to get to share their story as well, because at the end of the day, we're all people, and I need a team to do what I do for my clients. And that includes my employees that we have at BenPro and my vendors and carrier partners behind the scenes that, you know, we need you as much as you need us. So I love being able to just share my story, because I think it is a story that very similar. Everybody's had a little bit of a hiccup in their life and, you know, bounce back from it. But I can tell you that when I left NFP, it wasn't the best moment of my life. My wife was 2 months pregnant, and, you know, we had our first child, and this was our second child, and that was the scariest part of my life, is that trying to start a new opportunity, bringing another child into this world. And I don't get emotional too much, but me having a daughter now definitely gets me a little bit more emotional. So, you know, as my buddy Sean Torres says, that's the best motivation to get you to do something, is to have mouths to feed. And his story, I'm going to share in a future podcast, is very similar to mine. But that's the why of me, is that you're getting someone that cares, that wants to do better. I don't think I'm going to change the healthcare system. I'm not here to design to change the world. Like, we're in a system that it's not broken. It's just designed the wrong way. And it's just, I don't know a way to fix it, but I know of a way to help mitigate it over time. And the strategies that I have in my head, they're not secrets. They're just doing the right thing and paying the right price and being transparent about what I make as a broker, what the carrier makes, and your doctor makes. Like, we're all in business to make money. That's how this world works. But I think the point of it is it's making a fair and appropriate dollar amount. And at the end of the day, I mean, claims are the claims. Like, we can't stop your claims from happening, but we can control aspects of a claim, where the service is performed, the quality of the doctor, the service score of the doctor as well. So you can do a lot of things for employers. So I want to thank y'all for listening to this. If anybody's made it this long, I definitely appreciate it. You know, we have some really cool guests coming up. If anybody's interested in having a conversation with me, I love to just be open to everybody. I don't care if you're a vendor, employer, HR director, CFO. I want everybody's opinion. I got an HR director lined up coming soon. I got some people in the insurance industry. I got a CEO lined up. I got some really cool people that are going to share their expertise and insights. And at the end of the day, I am a benefits professional that is trying to connect with people on benefits, but I want this to be just a conversation about employers in general, and the strengths and the weaknesses of people, and things that have gone well, have gone bad, and what's happened in their business. Because at the end of the day, the reason I love employee benefits is that I get to work with so many different companies in different industries and get to kind of live vicariously through them. And that's cool. I have tech companies, I have RV dealers, I have race car tracks. Like, I do employee benefits. I do Excel work all day long. It's not fun. It's not sexy. So I love getting to go on site and seeing your guys' operations and see how you run your business. But at the end of the day, I can tell you, every employer, regardless of your size, you'll all have the same issues. And that's what kind of clicked in my head, is that I can help anybody across state lines. If you're 20 employees or 500 or 1,000, we all have the same problems. And it's just a larger dollar amount. That employer that's 20 employees is spending $100,000. That's a lot of money to them. But a 400 life employer spending $2 to $4 million in insurance, that's still a lot of money to them. So if I can save that company $500,000 on their RX, they're gonna be like, oh, that's great. But on that other side, that 20 life company, if I can save them 10% on that 100,000, that's still a win. At the end of the day, we're just trying to help people. So look, thank y'all for listening to this. Please subscribe on all my channels. I got YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything, LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Music. I just want to reach as much people as possible and just do the right thing. So thank y'all for listening. Take care. Bye.